One of you.
Cool. All right. Go for it, Leon. Leg.
Sorry, people. Yeah, I forgot I was chairing them. Okay. Do we have any updates or anything people would like to share? Your name appears to be next to it, Luke, so did you have something in particular?
Oh yeah. Cool. There's the grey bits before the like sort of standard things we normally do before we start, huh?
Sorry, yes, sorry. I'm not only am I a chair, I'm sort of, yeah, Jem does a lovely job of it. Right. Hello, everyone. We have appointed the facilitator and the minute taker. We don't have any new faces today. And I kind of combined one of the grey faces and the first point. So does anyone have anything interesting to discuss? That's the first thing.
Have you got noisy, Tam? There's noisy stuff just happened where you were.
Oh, really?
Or is it Leon? You've got some barking dogs or something.
I don't. I heard what you heard, but it's not from me.
Is it this?
No, don't say. Anyway.
Does anyone have anything interesting they want to share from the last few weeks?
Loads, but I'm not gonna do it now. Hackathon was really good, the refugee hackathon. Yeah.
Oh, go on, Tam. Say a few words on that, man.
It was 2 videos, but maybe once they're edited, once we've got some funding to pay you to edit them, Luke. Yeah, basically, we spent a weekend, 36 hours, with a team of incredibly varied and dedicated people. Very incredible people. Just, firstly, collectively gathering our skills and mapping out the kind of journey of a refugee, mapping out the problem, mapping out, because it's a complex situation and also a complicated one. So we spent like pretty much the whole first day really mapping the territory in a way. Then it got to night, we were properly building, and there was, I'm not talking like a more hacker where you have teams doing like almost rivalry like building with a competitive kind of aspect. They all want to do something, something from the sponsors by using their APIs. It wasn't at all like that. There were sponsors in the sense that there was potential and is potential investment by the hosts of the hackathon who hosted us at Innovation Warehouse in London. And they basically, it's a very different issue. It's not commercial. So we work all together on one thing called One Home, which is a collection of smaller things, which do 4 aspects, which would be at different stages of a refugee's journey. One pack, which in one line would be like a survival pack on the ground for people. I'm not so interested in this idea. Anyway, the next one is One Pass, which is quite an interesting strategic move based on the realization that Hans Rosling made. Hans Rosling, the statistician from the Foundation. He observed that basically, why do refugees not fly? Direct costs more money, it's much more dangerous and arduous to not fly. To get involved with all these like traffickers and dealers and boats and all this stuff. It's because you could turn up at an airport and they go, well, you don't have a visa, you don't have documents, and we can't claim responsibility for your repatriation if you don't get granted asylum. And that is the case because there's an EU law, EU migrant law, which says that you can't, basically, that an airline is responsible for the costs of repatriation. So international EU law pushes the responsibility and outsources the responsibility onto commercials, and they're just like, well, we can't accept that responsibility. So they're just nobody's responsible. Nobody's claiming insurance like responsibility for this. So that's why refugees don't fly, and it's just huge. Like, what the fuck? So we thought we'd create basically a travel agency which would step in and take that role as a third-party agency full of, like, you know, lawyers who would assess that application on an individual basis. You know, when a refugee comes in, let's try and apply from like to Germany, they because it's safe in Turkey at the moment. I don't think it would be safer in Germany, for example. Of course, I'm just exampling. They would gather the information from that refugee and then about their specific circumstances. There's a lot of complexity to it, like about like blockchain IDs and stuff, but essentially they would be providing insurance that that person will be granted asylum to a commercial airline, who then would not have to take responsibility and would just be doing their job and, you know, give them a ticket. That's what One Pass does. That's one of the things I'm interested in within the whole One Home thing. The next one's a One Campus, and that's like a kind of idea of like what I was saying about CTF having a base camp, kind of all like a work, play, sleep place, except that, of course, in this situation, it would be something like a school, a centre, and a kind of like first landing point for people who come One Pass thing in said safe countries, where there'd be a sleep place just for the initial part, like a week or something. So then the next aspect of One Home is One Story, which is a space and people just gathering the personal stories and broadcasting the personal stories and translating them by all that seem used by refugees. Like, they do use Facebook, WhatsApp, Viber, they use these, but they're not like, they get lost forever because of the nature of these things. So basically, there's a lot to talk about. I'm interested in the moment. There's lots of things. I could tell you more, watch the presentations, blah, blah, blah. I'll stop there. That was already long enough.
Amazing, Tam. Yeah, sounds very exciting.
What does that mean, Luke?
I was just telling Leon he's still muted.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Tam, for filling us in on that. That was interesting. Obviously, the refugee thing is front and centre at the moment, so it would be pretty cool if CTF got involved in that. I actually know 2 experts who work in refugee stuff, so that would be a good contact for us. Anybody else have stuff they want to talk about? Interesting stuff from the week?
Yes, but I'm going to have enough airtime in the agenda, so I will desist.
How responsible of you. Right, so I guess we are ready for point 1 on the agenda, which is Luke Hillary Flegg with an update and upcoming events.
Sweet. So what have I written? We've settled on how exactly we make decisions together democratically, at least for the time being, until we review it, and unless we come up with a sort of better way in the future. We've decided at least to go with vocalise for the time being. Huh? Yeah, Tam?
Yeah, I was just checking vocalise.
So I think in reality we've probably got about 8 or 9 people signed up to Vocalize when I logged onto the admin panel. So it would be really nice to get some extra people on there. I've made a tutorial video. Anyone who wants to see that, it's only about 3 minutes long, and I've tried to make it, you know, semi-interesting, and it takes you through the whole process of how to navigate around Vocalize and use it, which hopefully is useful. Not
Where
only
have you put that, brother?
was that?
Where have you put that video?
It should be in the workforce group somewhere. You know, you can search Facebook groups. One of the most useful things I discovered a year or two ago. You can search a word in a group. So instead of using the top Omni search thing, you use the little search box when you're inside a Facebook group and just put in Vocalize.
You're talking about Control F?
No. I'm talking about a second little search box that exists inside every Facebook group, and you can search that entire group's history for that.
Where is it?
On the right-hand side of the underneath.
Yeah, just go on to you will have just not clocked it if you haven't seen it before. You'll see it as soon as you.
It's right there. I just found it. Yep, it works. It's good.
And then the alternative way, on this occasion and for future, if you want to find something on YouTube, just put change the future one word, and keep in mind that sometimes YouTube still auto corrects change the future as 3 words, so you might have to override that and say no, I definitely meant it as 1 word. And yeah, with Vocalize you'll definitely find it that way. Change the future Vocalize. You'll see the tutorials. So yeah, I think that's really cool. For me, I think that's a massive step forward in the project, that we can make decisions. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're taking action yet, but it means when we do get really organised and productive taking action, we know we're doing it in the name of everybody in the project.
Oh yeah, I need that search thing. Yeah.
So that's just a bit of a sort of hooray, and then. Yeah, so upcoming events, right. So
Can I just briefly interrupt? There was kind of a point coming off of the Vocalize thing. It's slightly tangential, but I think still related, which was just the conversation that took place in the workforce group about using Vocalize, where we had a couple of people sort of saying they feel like there's a lot of what was the word he used? There's a lot of kind of theoretical conversations going on, and not so much doing things, if you know what I mean. And,
yeah. Who's talking now, Luke?
No, it's me. But do you remember what I was referring to, Luke?
Yeah, the conversation in the workforce Facebook group. Yeah, about so kind of. What actually is an idea, like what is something we can vote on, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think it is really important that we know what these different conversational spaces are for now. Facebook is clearly very good for immediately getting loads of different people in Change the Future to contribute to a question or a half-baked idea, or just to share something fascinating. You know, we know what Facebook's good for, I think. Vocalize, I think, is when you have a very specific proposal and you want to get everybody's agreement that you can do this actionable thing in everybody's name. Also, I think it can be really good for sort of floating a proposal as well. So if you kind of want to sort of test an idea. But I think, for me personally, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I don't really want there to be loads of stuff on Vocalize. I kind of personally would like Vocalize to be representative very much of our intent, you know, our very actionable, specific intent. These are our next handful of things that we're actually going to do, unless, you know, they're not popular, and then we won't do them. I think if I can just quickly screen share, I'd like to just show what a beautiful example I feel like what a beautiful example I feel like the bank thing was, because I feel like a lot of decisions in Change the Future are mine, ultimately, But this was one where I was outvoted, and I think it was really good. And that does happen sometimes, and I'd kind of like it to happen more. But so I've logged into Vocalize here. We've only got one group on here now. This was Greg's suggestion, and I thought it was really good. So these are our old groups. So yeah, we've just got Change the Future decisions, and everything happens in here now. If you click topics, you see all of the things that we're making decisions about in Change the Future. So anybody can add a topic. It would be really nice if other people added topics in here, anything that is about things we need to make decisions about. So one of these is how to set up a bank account, and if you click that topic, you'll see a description about that conversation, like why do we need to propose things, like why does this need addressing. We need a bank account because we've just got £5 and we need to put it into a bank account, and our co-op one doesn't cut it at the moment. So yeah, here's all the ideas, and you can see I've rated 1 out of 5 here. I've rated 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5. And here you can see the average rating. So this was rated by 6 people, and it's only averaged 1.8. So nationwide is not very popular. This has got 3 votes, and this has got good representation here, I think, with 9 votes. And it's also very popular. So everybody seems to be pretty happy with this idea of Joseph's to open an account with Unity Trust Bank. So the clever bit is this bit here, the 5 comments. If you click that, it expands people's reasons why they gave the rating that they gave. So this person has voted for Elias. Elias has voted for, and he says why. Tam has voted neutral, and so on. Yeah, and Joseph has voted for and says why. So yeah, this kind of deliberation and ability to reply to people's reasonings for their vote, I think, makes this quite a rich, powerful space for making good decisions together in an organised way.
Great, thank you, Luke. I'm glad you took my thing and ran with it. My little point that I was going to make about the Facebook comment about Vocalize was just that the same points keep coming up, and we keep suffering from this kind of repetition issue where people who have got a passing interest in Change the Future come in and make the odd little comment here and there. But the people who've been to a lot of meetings have maybe heard it 4, 5, 6 times now, but the obvious one was that sort of what are we actually doing kind of thing. So what I'm just kind of feeling like a list of really common comments, issues, and the response to them could be put somewhere. Probably in the Facebook group, I would guess, and probably pinned, I would guess.
I think I was trying to look at the Change the Future website, .co.uk, and you go to the Get Involved page. I actually been trying to get a widget which shows live updates of our activity on Vocalize in there. Like, it's in the page, but it's not working at the moment. And Peter Anderson said that that's a feature that's coming very soon, like an ASAP on the list one. But yeah, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that sounds really cool. The only issue with that, and with what I think Luke is demonstrating on the screen here, is that people don't log into Trello and people don't really go on the website. But I've just kind of thought to myself now that maybe that's not so much of an issue. Maybe it's all right if people just keep repeating the same things on Facebook, and maybe the regular users, the people who are in Change the Future could just make a comment in there, go to Trello, go to here, and like you were just suggesting, and we just be patient about it. I think sometimes I just get a bit more worked up than others when people make comments like that. But I wasn't cross about it. It was just kind of like frustrating a little bit.
No, I think it's fair enough. Because there's truth in it, and it's important that we own the criticism in a way and learn from that. And I think the Change the Future website is what I really want to work on, because Like, I have friends who have said to me, or random people, like in passing, that I mentioned Change the Future to, and they're like, "Oh, I looked it up and I can't find anything." And I'm like, well, yeah, because there's no SEO and websites like the this that, and they're like, "Oh, I thought it was like sounded really cool," and I'm like, "It is, but you like, it's hard to navigate and it's hard to define and like." Yeah, so lately, so many conversations with friends who are grabbed by the title,
Yeah.
but instantly lost. They try to look for like what the hell it is, and so they just drop it straight away because, of course, the age of information overload. You're just like, okay, well then, fine.
It's mad, man. I feel like it's sort of, it's like a
good points. Sorry, Luke, did you want to say something?
yeah. Sorry, but I just kind of jumped in.
Okay.
Yeah, just as you were saying that, Tam. As you were saying that, I just got. This is like my catchphrase at the moment, and I totally recognise it. But I got this image in my mind of like this vehicle. Like I feel like Change the Future is this prototype kind of concept car, and it is innovative, and there's really exciting stuff happening there, I think. But people are so like, can I drive it now? Will it drive? How many passengers will it take? How fast will it go? Like,
Of course, they're like
okay, it needs fuel. Like the thing it needs most of all right now is fuel, and people like working on it. And I think, like, yeah, we could invest our quite limited amount of time. Like, I really think what makes Change the Future amazing is a combination of how many hours per week human beings are actually investing into the project. And also there's obviously a degree of how good our decisions are, like what we choose to spend our time doing, because you could spend loads of hours a week doing something really silly that is a waste of time or duplicate someone else's work. But I think we're quite good at that. I think the bigger challenge in reality is the amount of hours per week that we have from people. And so I feel like, what can we do as a group, as a project, to kind of really create a culture that when people look at us, they don't just look at the cover of the book, but they actually open it up a bit and like actually look inside at what's happening internally. Because I think that's what's unusual about Change the Future, is actually it's what's happening inside that is interesting. And I think, you know, like if you look at Oxfam or WaterAid or the NUS or something, it would never occur to you to like look at what's happening on the inside, like how do they have meetings, or you know, how do they get together or make decisions, or sort of what's their organizational culture like, or whatever. You want to see the outside stuff, the outward facing activities on the ground with the public. But I think that's not what's so interesting about Change the Future. I think we've done some really cool stuff like the Wall of Ideas, and we could easily do more stuff like that now. People just need to run with it and just recognize the opportunity and how much permission there is there. There's more than permission. There's literally like budget to pay you potentially for doing these things. But yeah, I think it's just this internal culture. So it's like, do we put more attention into making the outward facing stuff, promotional video, website, very easy to understand, really slick, really sexy for the general public? Or do we prioritize our limited energy on making the internal stuff work really well? So the handful of people we have got who are really committed, are really clear about where things are, how to do things, and we just work really well.
Amazingly good point, Luke. Thank you.
Can I just add something on the hours? You know, if you come from a job background, having worked in a job, then working by the hour is what you're used to. But if you come from a business background, where you don't get paid for your hours, you get paid for your results, I think we should focus more on that. And we've achieved a number of exciting things. And I think we should focus on, like, the wall of ideas. That is a result. Okay? We brought that up at TEDx, and that's where I first found you guys. So that's a result. And shouldn't focus on, oh, I'm just going to put in 10 hours. And you can sit 10 hours and just talk about all sorts of stuff and not bring out a result. Or you can just sit down for 2 hours and create a result. See what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure, man, totally. Like, there's two things I feel there. Like, one is the wall of ideas, I think, has so much scope, so much potential there to, it's such a replicatable thing, especially if we create resources about how we made it, how we got the wood and what color cards we use and what the challenges were working with it, like in busy streets and moving it around and all these things. And then people might copy it in other cities, like the Liberators and loads of stuff you've been sharing about, Tam, is like projects that require almost nothing and are very easy to replicate and immediately connect generally strangers and disrupt their perspectives on things toward more compassionate, open-minded ways of being in community. So I think that's beautiful. Obviously, the wall of ideas has got a bit more to it, but yeah, I agree, Stefan. Like, there's real potential for very obvious, immediate impacts there. That also is delicious because it makes Change the Future look really good, and I don't think we would have half as much sort of legitimacy or appear as inspiring if we didn't have stuff like the wall of ideas. But at the same time, I kind of think while spending ages looking at different ways we can democratically make decisions, for example, inside Change the Future, or manage tasks in a really organized, clear and structured way where everyone knows what everybody else is doing, and we see when there's loads of tasks that are really important, maybe these jobs depend upon this being done, but nobody's doing this. And things like this, all these sort of logistical real life things of actually getting a project, a group of people working on a big vision in a really inclusive way to actually happen. I think that is also quite revolutionary and exciting and can have a massive impact too. Like the amount of people I've spoken to, like when I was at the Asher Centre in Gloucester, there was all kinds of projects, people from projects all around Europe working in kind of youth empowerment and peace education and justice and governance and human rights. And a lot of these groups are really struggling. They've got a beautiful vision. They've got the advantage, I think, of having a much kind of smaller, in a way, more focused scope of activities. Their vision is smaller. Like we're working with girls in Africa to give them more educational opportunities. It's more limited, and so they can work faster in that focused area. Like concentrating a beam of light, you can get it all in one. But a lot of these organisations, particularly more kind of, in some ways, more exciting kind of grassroots, innovative community projects, usually volunteer-led, many of them, I think, are struggling with how to make decisions in a quick, inclusive, insightful way, and to actually manage who's doing what when. Like even in Woodcraft Folk, which has been going 100 years, we are making decisions, man. And I know I'm saying that in like a public space. Like there's loads to love about Woodcraft Folk. All in all, it is a beautiful place. Your children are safe there. They will have an amazing time and go on awesome adventures. In reality, talking from my experience being in general council, we make decisions by shooting each other emails. Like anyone who doesn't admit that reality is telling a lie, and engagement is low. The quality of deliberation in decisions is low. Someone will make an educational resource, like some kind of book, and then they'll get loads of criticisms from all different directions without synthesizing it first. And it's kind of unmanageable, and just like I just don't know how to interact with that. I've got a busy life and I don't know how to just take a tangible job out of it or contribute to an important decision. And they're the two things that I feel useful in. So I think actually there is real innovation and potential for huge positive impact just in how we master internal processes before we do outward facing stuff.
Brilliant, thank you, brother. Can I just bring to people's attention that we have a little over half an hour left, and we haven't discussed the democracy event that's coming up this weekend, which is probably going to be.
Let's do that.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a big one. I just we sort of started getting onto the issue of pay then, which is coming up on the agenda as well. Do we kind of feel like we've covered that? Can we say we've amalgamated
I think the priority is the event, no?
Yeah, but I'm just realising that we kind of started getting onto the paid thing, so maybe it would be good to just sort of round that off, and then we could move on to that. And Luke's got his hand up, so let's just see what he wants to say.
It's a round offable.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like this is a big one, isn't it? I don't need to spend long on it. I can be quick. I'm just swimming through my ocean of tabs. So I was at Greg's house yesterday, and we were talking about clocking hours. Like, there is something that very easily conjures up very difficult, almost like draconian stories for a lot of us, I think, especially people who've worked more in hierarchical kind of top-down normal jobs, you know, as opposed to me, I've usually been my own boss freelancing, and I recognise a lot of people have had to work under supervisors and normal top-down thing. So I think, you know, clearly the amazing people who've made Reich have created this way of clocking your hours, probably, surely, mostly so that superior people who are above you can kind of breathe down your neck and keep tabs on you. I'm proposing we use clocking your hours in a totally different way that's nothing to do with that at all, because I think it can be completely hacked, if you like, or reappropriated to just be a way of making bread with 2 ridiculous ingredients. I feel like a chef that is in a kitchen called Change the Future, and I've been given these 2 fucking impossible ingredients. One is the vision of this project, the scope of it is unfathomably massive. It's basically just everything, improve life. And then also, who are we inviting to get involved? Is it really clear-minded, like just people who are really like on it, empowered, confident, like got loads of business strategy experience? No, it's like every man, woman, child, disabled person, culturally diverse, opinions diverse, Tory loving, like all of it as diverse as possible. That's one of the main ways I measure the success of Change the Future, is the diversity of who's actively involved. So combining this vast vision with this ridiculously, laughably diverse workforce, potentially, like hopefully, especially in the future, we need some really clear way to actually make sense, I think, of what each person is actually doing in real life on the ground. So this is the result of me thinking about that for a long time, is Reich. And I'd really, really love even just a couple more people to just spend an hour or 2 just playing with it. So there's 2 folders, if I can really quickly just run through. There's roles here, and roles is like permanent jobs in Change the Future. Sorry, I'll stop moving around here. So that's permanent roles, yeah, kind of. It's not a single job that you can complete. It's like a permanent position, and it may only be a couple of hours a week. And you may swap it, or we might change the role or realise it's part of a different role. That's fine. So it's not limiting. It shouldn't be limiting. And then here is tasks, and these are one-off jobs that you can actually complete. And in line with the teams that we agreed, I've put it into these 8 different teams. So in, for example, I don't know, Wall of Ideas, there's 2 jobs within the Wall of Ideas folder. So if you look at one of these, it's like add screenshots of Caroline Lucas to this document, or like within money and fundraising, if that's an area you feel comfortable with, like opening a bank account with Unity Trust Bank. Here's a screenshot of the proposal from Vocalize. Reich is so beautifully made, man. I would love other people to just have a tinker with it and see how beautifully made it is. But yeah, just concluding then on that time stamping thing. This is how you add a time entry, and I just want to show how simple it is. You just go click here. I spent 1 hour, and everyone would just trust you. I spent 1 hour on the phone to Unity Trust Bank, got some useful info. That's it. Add a time entry. And that's just a really useful thing to do, because then if you go into workload here, you can see what everyone's doing. Oh wait, where is it? Oh yeah, time log. That's it. So this is a time log of everything that everyone has done, and you can choose the time frame here. So like in September, this is a log of everything that Luke Flegg has done in September. And I just think that is a really elegant way of making sense of what each person is doing right now, even if they're in a different city and you don't get to see them very much, and everyone works at different times of day. You can see Luke spent 1 hour here, 30 minutes there, 2 hours on this. It shows you what task I was working towards. Elegantly visualizing roles. So you can click that task and it opens up. And it's just so easy. It takes like, what, 30 seconds to just click that little button. I have spent 1 hour doing whatever. And yeah, I just think that's a really powerful way of avoiding a top-down person telling everyone what to do, but we still remain kind of accountable. Like somebody's given us £5,000, we're spending that potentially mostly on paying people to do stuff. What are they doing? You know, I think it's useful to see when you're a new person what other people in Change the Future have been up to, so you've got some idea of the reality of what we actually spend our time doing.
Brilliant, thank you, Luke. I've noticed in the minutes that there is, sorry, on the agenda, that there is a link to a YouTube video explaining. It says to get involved in Change the Future on Rike. Is that the same thing as what you've just shown us?
What is that? The correct link? Oh wait, oh shit.
Yeah.
That links to a vocalized topic. Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe that's because that vocalized topic links to. I made a tutorial video for Rike as well, I think.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Does it link to? It's next to the talk about how to get paid. So I was assuming it would be a tutorial on logging the hours and getting paid.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah. So if I just do this again quickly. So I put this point on the agenda with the hope that we can recognize that within this topic on Vocalize, what should decide how we're paid. There has been 8 ideas. These are the ideas, least popular at the bottom, and just like the wall of ideas actually, most popular at the top. And this idea is kind of an amalgamation of Alex PB's idea and an earlier idea of mine, which is to start paying people a small hourly wage of just £3 an hour, just to kind of test the system and make sure everyone's comfortable using it. It's really just to sort of oil the wheels, if you like, and just sort of see the mechanism working, and then it quite quickly works its way up to a minimum wage income.
Okay.
And so yeah, this is the video.
Can I just say about this that I'm much more interested in the event, and I think preoccupation with like long-standing issues like this, which don't need to involve everyone necessarily, especially if we don't care so much, because we don't think that it's a ready time. I'm interested in the event this weekend. We're going to discuss that when, and I need to leave soon.
Okay.
I just wanted us to just recognise that this proposal is successful, unless anybody has blocked it by voting 1 out of 5 stars. I believe it is the most popular out of the 8 ideas that we've got for how to pay people, or if indeed we are paying people. So I just want the meeting to formally recognise this is happening and in place, and everybody can now earn money through working on Change the Future. Yeah, we don't need to discuss it any further as far as I'm concerned.
That was really valuable input, and Tam, we didn't know you had to go soon. We've got 25 minutes left, which should be plenty of time to discuss the event. Hopefully you can hang around for 20 minutes.
I'll try, yeah.
Awesome. I will therefore move us on to that point in the agenda now then.
Can I just double check, Stefan, you've got that in the minutes, that is, because for me that's like a big issue, like paying people to work on this project for me is
Yeah,
like...
I've got it from 37 minutes onwards.
Oh, cool.
Where you talked about how you get paid.
Wicked. Sweet. Nice.
Brilliant. So the next point on the agenda is the event from the 25th to the 27th, which is Flat Pack Democracy, Luke. That's the name of it, isn't it? And on the agenda it says, how can we make the most of it? Is anyone up for putting the wall of ideas there?
Yes, yes. Oh, did we, just quickly, sorry, did we miss point 2 because Alex PB is not here about the mesh democracy?
Yeah, also just because we kind of jumped ahead to point 3 because we had started talking about pay, and now we kind of all recognise that the event is an important one to go to. So I kind of,
cool.
As the facilitator, I made the decision to move on to that point.
Cool, cool. All right, nice. So yeah, the democracy event. This was given to me yesterday when I was helping run the People's Festival. I was helping run the forum tent there, and Steve Peake from the Synergy Centre was going around handing these out. So this is a really, really big, exciting opportunity, this event. It's a 3-day sort of long weekend, 25th to the 27th of September. And the Friday here, can you read that? I mean, yeah, don't read it all, but basically there's an amazing local woman called Jenny Lloyd organising something called Connecting Brighton, which is quite loose. It's not very like sort of super structured or action based. It's more kind of free space to connect with other people based on issues that you're passionate about and questions. So that should be a nice, quite gentle way to sort of slowly just meet who's in the space, and we'll probably mostly be there the next day as well. So that's Friday, Connecting Brighton, and then Saturday is the day that I'm being paid 3 days of work to help organise. So I'm definitely going to make sure that I do everything I can to help this event be really, really awesome. Already I've spoken a lot with Daniel Bernstein about my main role is to so with like interesting events like this, you often get obviously you get loads of amazing, interesting people, interesting projects and questions. They come for a day and then everyone just fucks off and it's all over, and 90% of the time not a lot really kind of continues. There's no sort of continuous threads. And if you weren't there at that time in that place, gutted, basically. So my job is to...
Can I...
Yeah?
Do you want to just finish your sentence? Because I got excited.
So what I'm doing, I feel like it reminds me of what David Bovril was talking about at our working retreat here, about happenings, you know, creating this kind of model for opening up whatever activity is happening at your event and making it more accessible to the outside world, and helping to create a sort of continuous thread where you don't have to start completely from scratch every time, like, oh, how should we stay in touch after this event, you know, that you just go, oh, we'll just adopt this where we use these 2 different tools, like, I don't know what, but yeah, maybe sort of Hangouts on Air and maybe a Facebook group or something, but probably something a bit more than that.
So the methods that I love about hackathons, like, you know, hackathons, they come together and organize in like 24-hour period, and then people tend to like continue, like once in a while anyway, some amazing thing grows out of a hackathon. Usually not, people just drop it afterwards. But at the moment, for example, the way we're organizing and pushing forward with this particular one, the Hack Humanity refugee crisis thing, is amazing. We've got a Slack channel. We've got like more and more growing interest by really important people, more and more, like, when I say important, I mean who've got their fingers in many helpful pies and like potentially investment for the launching of these ideas. And like that was really just the start, because everyone was like taking it seriously, and so everyone instantly got together, joined the Slack channel. We have a Slack channel which is kind of like a permanent Google Hangouts, like, if that makes sense. You know, you've got a chat, you've got and it's got loads of features. Lots of startups use it. Anyway, so we're all there, and all the resources we're using, again, Google Drive and stuff. But like, what I mean is that we all come in one place, and we're all sharing in one place, and things are moving forward, and that was created over one weekend. So if we can do that, you guys can do that. Really, it's just people who care, and very varied people. I guess like the fact that people came to a hackathon specifically means that everyone wants to like really get shit done and not just have fun, which in itself would be like everyone's attention is fully there when you say things like, okay, this is the group's Slack channel, everyone give me your emails. Even if there's 40 people in the room, all of them come and do that straight away, because the attention is there in a hackathon, of course. That might be harder in that kind of space. There's a toilet, is that what you're looking for? Yeah, keep going.
Thank you, yes.
And I guess I just wanted to share that because it's, it inspired me so much.
Brilliant, thanks, Dan. Luke, do you feel that relates to what you were saying?
Yeah, for sure. I think good facilitation at events like that is super important. And yeah, obviously having like a bit more of a focused kind of goal. Like if everyone can see the outcome in their mind's eye, it's so much easier to achieve. I think like even if you're doing gymnastics or trying to score a goal, like if you can see what the finished result looks like, you're 10 times more likely to kick that ball better or throw the air in the right way.
If I were to come for one day to take on the role of facilitating the kind of artifacts, like my main objective being to ensure that whatever is happening is being taken forward in a way, you know, whether that means going around and, you know, taking small snippets of videos of the process and then tweeting about it, or whether that means setting up the Slack channel or whatever tools we use to self-organize and ensure that we have one like place that everybody knows about is the continuation for this. What day would it be that I should come?
Luke, before you answer that, can I add to the question by saying, like, I'm thinking of potentially coming as well, obviously. So make the answer more fully. What do you see as BPS involvement in it, and how can we each help? So answer Tam first, but answer that full question.
So the day is called Flat Pack Democracy, and that comes from a guy called Peter McFadden, who's the mayor of Frome, which is a very interesting town where there's a lot of quite revolutionary stuff going on. And Flat Pack Democracy is the name of his book, and also the name that was given to this project, which saw the coming together of independent councillors, so no party affiliation, councillors of Frome came together and totally overpowered the Conservative, Labour, all the other political parties. So it was a coalition of independents, and they came into power to run Frome Council. Pardon?
Wow.
Yeah, so that sort of became a model that's quite replicable. And Peter McFadden is coming down on Saturday, on the 26th. So he'll be working very closely with me and Daniel Bernstein. And he'll do a little talk. A couple of people will do a little talk. I'll probably do a little talk. But it won't be a really talky day. It will be more sort of interactive breakout circles, but kind of really organized freedom, if that makes sense. So there will be various options for things you can do all the time, and I want to print off a lot of inspiring and educational things to stick on the wall, like our e-democracy and voting apps document, after we've worked on it a little bit more, and just really give people an insight into how fast this new world is emerging of tools and spaces for people to not just have a voice and sort of lobby decision makers, but actually to go beyond that and actually like self-organize together, like actually you know, share skills and ideas and answers and questions and resources and spaces. So yeah, everything from the sort of tools that we use to get stuff done in a really open, collaborative way, through to sort of gift and sharing economy things. So it'll be all these sorts of ways of communities empowering themselves and not waiting for governments and councils to devolve power, but just us normal people, residents, create power. We're not even fighting to take it, we're just generating power through more effectively organising together. That's the theme of the day. So there's loads of scope in there, and I think getting the wall of ideas up is one thing that feels like a no-brainer if we can do it. In my dreams, I'd love to get a version 2 of it built, because we do have obviously a bit of funding. I'm really prioritising this in terms of my capacity, and there's definitely space for it. It's in an amazing location called the Synergy Centre, which is crazy. It's like a nightclub, a big nightclub, about 1,500 capacity nightclub that no longer has its
license.
Yeah, its license. Although they can do temporary licenses, and they'll have a drinks license on the day we're there, but they don't have a permanent one. So yeah, it totally changes the place. It means that it can no longer be a sort of cash cow for just getting people wankered on a Friday, Saturday night. And the guy Steve Peake, who's got this grand vision for it to be this sort of very powerful, huge sort of social centre for community level social change. And there's a lot of people watching to see if it works. You know, a lot of people are like, that cannot be financially viable, you will not pull that off, someone's going to redevelop that into flats or something more commercial. And he's like, this is going to fucking work, you know. So it's an interesting space. Yeah, so I think
to the involvement of CTF.
Yeah, involvement of CTF, I think there's heaps of roles. Personally, I feel like the best way to make sense of them, for me, to help with making sense of the opportunities in that day, I think is through Reich, because we can list roles and discuss it in there. I feel like Facebook is just not the right tool. I think we can chat about it a bit now, but we're running out of time, and we can just do it in a really visual, organised way in Reich. So I would love to invite people to try out Reich, and I'm there to help people get used to it. But yeah, I think that's probably the best way, I think, to continue chatting about it. So just in here, inside events, is right in social forum, end of September. So yeah, if you click this, we can create subtasks inside here. So help facilitate wall of ideas. So that becomes a subtask, and you can open that. Someone can work on it a bit. We can embed pictures in there. We can attach files. We can link to stuff. But you see what I mean? That's kind of like a subtask of making that day happen and be amazing.
Excellent, thanks, Luke. So yeah, well, I'll definitely log into Reich and see if there's things I can help with, because I want to come to Brighton and see my brother, but I also want to get involved in this. So yeah, I'm enthusiastic about it. Pam, I'm guessing you can log in there as well and see if there's anything you can help with. It sounded like your idea of
yeah.
live tweeting and stuff sounded good to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm happy to just right now volunteer that role and not even just bypass all the like logging of that. I don't really have an interest in an income from CTF. I don't think that that right now is how I see CTF. Um,
Cool.
Yeah, I'm just gonna come and be helpful if I can in the way that I see best fit with that in mind, that taking it forward is a major issue. Yeah.
That's cool. I think part of the thing with Reich was also just to see literally what is available, like what you could help with, so that you're aware of it before you go there. But if you've already got an idea of what you want to do, that's awesome. So great.
Yeah.
Luke, do you have anything to add? Before...
Yeah, just Ham saying that actually reminded me of. I just wanted to very briefly add just a sentence about the earlier thing about money. Just I really want to make it clear my interest in Change the Future being able to pay people is nothing to do with incentive. It's to do with expanding Change the Future's problem-solving capacity to include problem-solving the fact that many people are just not able to volunteer on this project right now, or at least don't believe they're able to, because they're just...
But I don't think it's a financial thing, like predominantly anyway. That's my opinion, but
It's
yeah.
not a financial thing?
The reason that people aren't getting involved fully or properly, or yeah.
Sure, yeah, no, I think there's definitely other reasons there too, but I think you know, I can share with you many messages that I've received from people saying that they just can't afford to make it a priority because of monetary reasons, or at least partly because of that. And I think if people can see that people are actually earning, you know, a significant amount of income from it, and who actually need to do that because they don't have other really well-paid job and they don't have, you know, 3 days off every week. You know, then they can see, then they can focus more on, okay, what actually exactly is it? I know in your case it's a totally different reason, and that's totally fine. I'm really not saying that pay people and then all the problems solved. Everyone will know exactly what they're doing and be inspired to do it. I'm just saying it's one of the reasons why Change the Future cannot, at this stage, be as inclusive as it should be.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for fully explaining that, Luke. Guys, we basically have 5 minutes left.
I have a question about with this weekend. I think that, like, basically, well, this weekend, what is there a place which details the most exciting things happening in a kind of timetable schedule way, which is not about Change the Future per se, but about the events? Yeah.
I love to screen share, it is so fun. Facebook. If you look in Facebook for Flat Pack Democracy, rename it in Reich so it matches. Oh look, it's me. Right. This is the event you're looking for, Flat Pack Democracy at Brighton Social Forum at the Synergy Centre. That will tell you more about the event. It also includes a link to, I think it's got tickets on Eventbrite. Yeah, here I put a link to tickets.
Ah, you need a ticket.
I think it's free, huh?
It's
yes.
donation £5. Donation.
Haha, look at this. You can get the ticket until 3 days after the event is finished.
Because it's a donation, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Anyway, this says quite a lot about the actual schedule of things and staff. Look, me. Yeah. People's Republic and DemSoc.
I'll be interested to see People's Republic. And of course, we haven't highlighted the fact that Lucy Hall is going to be there yet.
Who?
Yeah, nice one.
Lucy Hall, Tam, is someone we were trying to get in contact with previously, who ran as an independent in Kensington. In
Bermondsey, I think, huh?
Bermondsey, that's it. Thank you. And we were trying to get her to come to one of our meetings, and it has as yet not happened. So maybe meeting her IRL will be cool.
What does IRL mean?
Sorry, I assumed everyone would know that because we're so internety in real life.
Ah,
Oh dear.
I was trying to be so cool there, and it completely blew up in my face. Good. We now have 3 minutes left. Are we kind of feeling like we're ready to round off, at least to come off live, or do we need to cover anything more?
when are we going to do mesh democracy? When Alex is there?
Wait, but I see a couple more things on the agenda now.
I'm just realising that we're coming up to the end time of our meeting.
But there's
yeah, maybe we could
let's go on to the next points, huh? Because there's still stuff in the...
Rather than that, why don't we just decide when we're going to address the next points so that we actually finish on time?
Yeah, thanks, Tam. Yeah, as the facilitator, I've just I kind of remember in the past we've said that we were going to have a firm stop point, and we were also kind of fairly relaxed about moving things on the agenda to next time. But are you feeling there's something important we need to cover now, Luke?
I'd definitely like to... Point 7 is not that important, but point 6 definitely is, and also is very relevant to Tam's point about a Change the Future sort of base camp. I can do that.
Point 6.
I'm happy to run over for that one.
Right, so now we're getting to this kind of selective process. That's fine by me, honestly. I kind of think when you make a rule, it's good to stick to them, but I'm also kind of easy. So, point 6, change the camp.
What does Stefan think? Is
Because
Stefan alright?
we started quarter of an hour late too.
I
will be leaving at 20 to 10 because I need to make an important phone call.
Oh, that's enough time.
Cool.
Other than that, I'm fairly relaxed about anything.
So, point 6 is a Change the Future camp at the Asher Centre, Luke.
Okay. So, the Asher Centre is this place I've been to about 3 times. It's kind of like a home away from home for me, a place full of inspiration and amazing things. The first thing I went there for was conflict transformation, then another course on forum theatre and social entrepreneurship, and then most recently, a couple of weeks ago, on mainstreaming peace education, which felt about as vast as Change the Future. Anyway, so it's an incredible venue, sort of this premises with about 2 acres of land full of permaculture, kind of biodynamic farmed beautifulness and rivers and little eco lodges and stuff. So it's an incredible location, and they do all kinds of courses there and sort of getaway retreat things. And the people who run it, I get on with them really well. And I went into the office, the sort of production office space, and spoke to Mark and Adrian and Sandy about whether Change the Future might possibly be able to have a working retreat there. And we chatted about it for a while, and they were really keen on the idea. And Mark, who's one of the directors, said that they would love to have Change the Future do like a 4 or 5 day event there. And he gave me a sheet with their costings for hiring space, and said that they would definitely be able to they'd be able to knock off most of the price on that, and potentially even possibly all of the cost, you know. So they would even potentially offer us the space for 5 days to do Change the Future stuff at a loss. because they support what we're doing so much, and I just think that's just not an opportunity that you turn down. Like that it is fully accommodated. They've got a kitchen where they just feed you amazing food. So I guess I would propose that we pay maybe £20 per person per day, or something like that, or maybe £10 per person per day. So at least they're sort of covering most of their base sort of expenses by having us there. And then, you know, we can really, it won't be like that cock up in London where it's like, where do we sleep? How do we feed ourselves? Where do we work during the daytime? You know, this is just like luxury. Let's just focus on actually getting shit done together in a beautiful space.
Actually, let's rather get some awesome stuff done there. But yeah, I think that is an awesome, it's a great idea. Where and when?
So they also looked at some dates with me. I've got about 3 dates. So shall I, as an action point, Stefan, I'll put what I propose on Vocalize, and I'll put the dates and the amount of money I propose we send them, and then they can just go yes or no. And honestly, I think they'll probably just say yes.
Very, very cool. So yeah, Stefan, just add that as an action point in the minutes. That sounds really cool. The only thing I would add to that would just be that I would feel a bit of a necessity to really make sure we make use of that time, because you know, of what they're giving up for us to have a real sort of hate to use, well, no, organised, to have a really organised agenda of things to do that will get the value out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Is that all you wanted to say about it, Luke?
I think so, yeah. I feel like saying that out loud with you guys is, yeah, that felt good, and to hear your response, and just invite any sort of suggestions. Over the next sort of 24, 48 hours, I'll work on that proposal on Vocalize so that I can present something really actionable that you guys can actually say yes or no to, or propose tweaks to. But yeah, that should be essentially a sort of proposal to give to the Asher Centre as well.
Good. As long as it's not in November or first half of December, I should be able to do it.
Sorry? Say again.
We should avoid November and December because I won't be here. And December is very busy for everyone because of all these Christmas events. But okay. A nice slack time is, say, early in January or early February.
Could you put that in the minutes, Stefan? I think January would be my preference, given what you're saying.
Yeah, you're happy for it to be that far off, Luke?
Personally, I would have quite liked it to be in November, but it would be really good to have you, Stefan. I don't know, what do you lot think?
I will be going to work some projects in Asia, and I will bring back a lot of great ideas. I want to go to Print Space and all the other co-working places that they have there, meet up with lots of people. So I want to bring all that stuff into the next retreat to share with you guys, see what we can learn from it. Therefore, it would be better if it's after my return.
What would you think, Stefan, about us doing one in January as well as one in November? You know, considering there'll just be like 4 or 5 days long.
Fine, same. I mean, I'm not worried. You mean we do another Asher event in January?
Yeah. I mean, if it works well at the Asher Centre, I really don't see why. I'm really happy to do whatever is most useful to change the future, and maybe that's just applying for funding, because I think I'm quite good at that. I haven't spent much time doing it, but I've applied about 7 times and got us funding about 5 times.
Good, excellent, yeah.
So I can do it, and every time I apply, we've got more and more to show. Especially if other people are kind of the main reason I'm not applying for funding more often is because I want to do things like the wall of ideas, you know, and kind of have stuff that's actually visible that funders are interested in. You know, you can't just apply for funding and not do any activities. So if other people are doing activities and stuff, then I can do the boring admin behind the scenes things, you know. So I'm happy with that.
Okay.
Outstanding. I propose that we go off live now, and if there's any more couple of points that people want to, or like organisational things for timings for the weekend or anything like that, we just discuss that offline. Is everyone all right with that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye
Right.
bye YouTube. See you soon.
Yeah, Stefan, do you have to go now?
Well, I will have to go for about 10 minutes, make this phone call, then I can come back, so I can leave the channel open.
Yeah, no problem. I'm not sure we have too much to discuss about offline. I was just proposing we do that in case anybody just had anything they wanted to ask before we go. But we're ready to go offline, I think, Luke. So if you want to
Oh,
whack
great.
us offline.
Thank you very much.